Anantam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhusya Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Amadeva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Amadeva Deva. Hari Om. We are doing the Panchadashi, chapter 7, and now 157th sloka in the 7th chapter, sloka 157 that we just finished. So here we are talking about the prarabdha karma of a Jivan Mukta. That prarabdha karma, whether it's for a realized soul or unrealized person, one has to bear the consequence. And therefore, he considers there are three types of prarabdha karma. And the first type is that which is propelled by strong desires, which could not be removed because they are very strong. That's the definition of a strong is, because of so many lives, it has become so strong that one cannot avoid, even though one knows that it is not right thing to do. So a jnani of that, knowing very well that the consequence of that is going to be terrible, still one cannot avoid that because of the pressure of the vasanas. That is called swa-ichcha. And the other one is whether you desire or not, you have to go through that because of the prarabdha karma. So you cannot avoid that, because the actions that are done in the past, results one has to bear consequence, whether good or bad. So irrespective of whether you have realized or not realized, that has to be bear. So he gave an example of three examples. One is Nala, another is Rama, and third is Yudhishthira. If they could have avoided, they would not have suffered, but they suffered because they could not avoid the result of the actions that are done in the past. That's what essentially prarabdha karma is, from which you are bringing into this life. So in Rama's case, that it is whatever that was done in the Vishnu, when he was a Vishnu, and he has to bear the consequence of the curse that was given by the sage, and so he has to get separated from his wife. And in the case of Yudhishthira also, there was a prarabdha karma because of which they had to suffer the consequence of that action, even though they are very dharmic. So Nalarama Yudhishthiraha, that's what we did in the 156. Avasyam bhavi bhavanam pratikaro bhavidyati tada dukkhairna lipyeran Nalarama Yudhishthiraha. So just because Ishvara also has to go bear the consequence of the action that was done in the past, and does not negate the Ishvaratvam, the Lordship, because Lord himself is established the rules and regulations that every action has to have its consequence and one has to bear it. Whether you are a wise man or otherwise man, one has to bear it. That is a law of action and result. So the action will have two results. One is immediate result, that what you enjoy or suffer, but it leaves an impression in the mind to repeat or to avoid ragadveshas or getting result of that. And because of the ragadveshas that you want to bear, impression is left, which makes you again to either enjoy or suffer. So this is what the Ishwarenaiva Nirmitaham. This is what Lord himself has made this law. Therefore, he himself doesn't violate the laws that he has made. Because if he starts violating, then other people also say, how come you could avoid? We also want to avoid. So therefore, Ishvara follows the rules and shows that everyone has to follow the rules. And that's what is the Ishwarenaiva Nirmita. Now we'll take this, sloka 158. प्रश्नोत्तराभ्याम एवैतद् प्रश्नोत्तराभ्याम एवैतद् गम्यते अर्जुन कृष्णयोः अनिच्छा पूर्वकं चास्ति प्रारब्धमिति तशृणु prarabdhamiti tashrunu. Together. Prashnotarabhyam evaitad gamyate Arjuna Krishnayoho aniccha purvakam chasti prarabdhamiti tashrunu. So Arjuna Krishna Yoho Prashnottarabhyam eva. That means the Arjuna Krishna Yoho between the Arjuna and Krishna. Prashnottarabhyam. So Arjuna asked the question and Krishna answered Prashna and Uttara eva in this dialogue. Aniccha purvakam prarabdham asti. So even though one doesn't desire it, there is a prarabdha karma. This is the second type of prarabdha karma. I'm not neither desiring it or avoiding it or asking for it, but still I have to bear the consequence of it. This is called aniccha purvakam, without any propulsion. Now, the prarabdham asti, there is a prarabdha karma that one has to bear. So, iti etad gamyate. This has been seen in the discussion between Arjuna and Krishna. Tat shrunu. That you listen now. So he is going to quote Bhagavad Gita slokas of where Arjuna asks a question and Krishna answers that question. So this occurs in the Gita. In the 3rd chapter, in the Karma Yoga, and the slokas 36 and 37 of the 3rd chapter. Arjuna asks, Adhakena prayukteyam papam charati purushaha anichan napi varshneya baladiva niyojitaha. Together. Adhakena prayukteyam papam charati purushaha anichan napi varshneya baladiva niyojitaha. A varshneya means one who comes from the Krishna, Lord Krishna. So is addressing, Krishna is being addressed by Arjuna. Atha kena prayukteyam. Atha here, kena prayukteyam, but what propelled by what? Papam charati purushaha. People perform sins. People commit wrong things, or people perform actions that are not appropriate. By what? Propelled by what? That's what Arjuna's question is. Atakena prayuktaha ayam papaha charati purushaha. Purusha means all human being in general performs the action that which contributes to papam, that contributes to the sin. Anichanapi, even though they don't want to do it. This is the question here is, even now if they want to do it, that's a separate. Even if they don't want to do it, they are doing it. What propels them to do? That is a question. Baladiva niyojitaha. As though they are forced to do it. Even if they don't want to do it, they are forced to do it by the circumstances that are beyond their control, and by what force is causing that problem. That's Arjuna's question. So people know that, at the same time they are forced to do certain things beyond their control, and what is that pushes them to do that? So here the Krishna answers that question in the 37th of the, this is question is posed by Arjuna in the 36th sloka of 3rd chapter. In the 37th, the Krishna answers, Kamayesha krodayesha rajoguna samudbhavaha mahashano mahapapma vijjena meha vairinam. Together, Kamayesha krodayesha rajoguna samudbhavaha mahashano mahapapma vijjena meha vairinam. So Kamayesha krodayesha. Kama, the desire, esha, that, and krodha esha. And what is that is propelling them to act even though they know? And it's even though they don't want to do it, it says because of the strong desire. So anichan is a light, even though it is a very strong desire, that vasanas that they cannot control. So uncontrollable desire, Kamayesha, krodha, if this uncontrollable desire is not fulfilled, then they get angry also. Kama leads to krodha. So anger comes because of unfulfillment. Either people are not meeting their expectations. Kama yesha, krodha yesha. Rajoguna samudbhavaha. It's born of rajogunam. Rajogunam means that which propels you to act something. So Lord Ishvara does not have rajogunam. Ishvara can superimpose himself rajogunam for acting. That's a separate issue. When he wants to take an avatara, Ishvara is sattva guna pradhana. So therefore pure sattvam, that's why he is sarvajnaha. And Jiva is not a sarvajnaha because he has a sattva guna with little bit sattva guna and rajo guna and tamo guna. So it's impure sattvam, therefore he wants, my mind is agitated all the time or lethargic like a tamas due to tamas, and therefore he will be having impurities. And here rajo guna is the one that propels them to act. Tamo guna he would want to sleep, but rajo guna is the one that propels them to act. So that causes a desire and that causes a krodha also. So how does the anger comes, and anger the kama leads to krodha and all that was discussed in the second chapter before. And kama yesha, krodha yesha, rajoguna samudbhavaha. Mahashano mahapapma. This is Maha Asanam. Asanam is a strong, the push to eat. Hunger is the consuming hunger. Mahasano Mahapapma. It's a self-consuming hunger. Mahapapma. And one commits the greatest sins because of that. And vidhi enam viha vairanam. This is the greatest enemy of a human being. This is essentially the anger comes because when the desire comes is not proper, that essentially the desire will lead to anger, and anger can lead to pranasyati. One can fall down. You use a discriminative intellect. When you are angry, you don't know what is right thing to do, what is wrong thing to do, and that's essentially causes a problem. Therefore, they are the greatest enemies. So, what was the question? Question is, what is the force that is causing the problem? And he says, kama yesha, because kama is the strong desire. How did the kama come to picture? How does the desire? Because my desires are different from your desires, and your desire is different from his desires or her desires. So each desire is different, but the desires can be strong, and desire comes because of previous vasanas, because of previous indulgence. Whenever I indulge in any action by egocentric attitude that I want it, egocentric is I want it, and when I perform an action because of the longing for the result of the action, that is called I desire, then the question becomes, the action will leave. Not only the result may be favorable or unfavorable. If it is favorable, I am happy. If it is unfavorable, I am unhappy. So that leads to anger and all that. And if I feel that somebody else is obstructing the result that is coming to me, then I am angry with that person, and I perform actions which I can repent later. He may be performing and coming in between because of his prarabdha and because of my prarabdha also. Because I am not supposed to get the result, I must have hindered a similar result for him in the last life, now he is paying back. So anything that is obstructing, that is beyond my control, comes because of the prarabdha karma. If I can control it, then it is, you have to operate on that if it is the right thing to do. It's called the prayer of serenity. So things that I cannot control, accept. Things that I can control, then make it better. So, and I should know what is that I can control and what is not that I cannot control. So prayer is, oh Lord, give me the wisdom to know the difference between the two. In any action, there are some things beyond your control. So we are waiting for a driver to come. He never showed up because the time is over. It's supposed to come at 5 o'clock, 5:15, 5:30, and then suddenly when we call him, he says, he doesn't say, I am not coming. So what do you do now? You have no control on him, and you are the fellow who's supposed to send him, company that's supposed to send him, he says we don't know, and he may say we'll send now another driver, but that's too late for us. We have to go by auto or something. So that can have, without things that are beyond our control, what do? You act in such a way that you can solve the problem at that time, because you have no control anyway. So getting anger will not solve the problem. If it gets, anger can solve the problem, get angry. But anger should not get you so that you cannot act properly. Kama yesha, krodha yesha, rajoguna samudbhavaha. This is because of mind gets agitated when things don't come in the way that you want. And Krishna calls this kama mahashanaha. This is a consuming hunger. So it means, consuming means it eats you away. More than the hunger is what you eat. But this can eat you away because it eats your peace of mind, and you will be agitated for the rest of the day or rest of the life also, sometimes depending on the nature of the problem. So mahasino mahapapma vidhi enam iha vairinam. This is the greatest enemy, and that's what Prahlada tells to his father Hiranyakasipu. Says, you thought you have conquered all the three worlds. He is looking for Vishnu, but you have not conquered your own enemies. They are inside you. He says, who is my enemy inside me? Then he says, kama, krodha, moha, lobha, mada, acharya. There are 6 enemies that are there inside your own heart. If you can conquer it, then you conquer the world. That's what Prahlada tells his father Hiranyakasipu. So this is coming, these are called Vairinam. These are the greatest enemies for any human being. So desire and anger propelled by Rajoguna, they are all consuming, and it eats you and can commit terrible sins because of that. So therefore, here the discussion between the Arjuna and Krishna tells you that one cannot get out of the prarabdha karma. That is the whole message here. Now we go to 161. Swabhavajena kaunteya, swabhavajena kaunteya, nibaddham svena karmana, kartum nechasi yan mohat, kartum nechasi yan mohat, karishyasya vashopi tat, together. Swabhavajena kaunteya, nibaddhasvena karmana, kartum nechasi yan mohat, karishyasya vashopi tat. Now he is going to give another example from the Bhagavad Gita. He says, because Kaunteya is there, Arjuna is there. So Kaunteya, hey Arjuna, svena, by his own swabhavajena, that's born of his own vasanas, his own nature, karmana, by action. Nibaddha, he gets bound by his own actions in the past. Yat kartum na ichasi, so that one does not desire to do it, he is still propelled to do it because of the strong vasanas. Tadapi mohat avasaha karishyati, because of moha. Moha means delusion. So delusion is taking illusion as real is a delusion. So therefore, because of the delusion means not knowing what is right and what is wrong, and because of that, and propelled by the past actions, he will do even when he doesn't want to do it, he is propelled to do. That's what Krishna says to Arjuna. Because of swabhavajena, nibaddham svena karmana, so he is propelled to do actions, kartum na ichasi an mohat karishyati, karishyasya vashopi tatu. So tat vashopi, because of the overpowered the desire by it, he cannot but do. He performs the action because of the power of vasanas. Because of mohat, Krishna calls it here, moha means delusion, and that propels him. Moha means not knowing what is real and what's not real. So this he discusses that because of the prarabdha karma, whether one desires or not, he is propelled to perform an action. This is true whether it's a jnani or ajnani. And therefore, this is the second type of prarabdha. And the third type of prarabdha now is going to discuss. This is to satisfy other people who are around you. Because of their desires, you have to do certain things which you don't want to do or you're propelled to do. So this is called para-ichcha. I will do 162 too. Na-nichanti no-chechantaha, na-nichanto no-nachantaha, paradakshinya-samyutaha, paradakshinya-samyutaha, sukha-dukkhe bhajanchetat, sukha-dukkhe bhajanchetat, parecha purva-karmahi, parecha purva karmahi. Together, na-nichanto na-chechantaha, paradakshinya samyutaha, sukha dukkhe bhajanchetat, parecha purva karmahi. So, anichantaha na ichantaha na, whether you like it or not. Anichantaha, whether you don't want it, or ichantaha, whether you want it. So, although neither desiring or not desiring, one has to do actions. To have a desire to experience the joy and sorrow, you don't want to again enjoy it or not enjoy it. Paradakshinya samyutaha, due to the concern for others, because of others want it and you cannot say no because of your own prarabdha. You are put in a situation where you cannot say no. So paradakshinya samyutaha sukha dukkhe bhavanti. So one has to go through the sukham and dukkham has to go through the consequence of that, because he is put in an environment where he has to satisfy the other people's ichchas. So here the prarabdha is a third type is being discussing, that not depends upon your prarabdha, your actions, or your karmas, or propelled by your previous actions, but you are in a, this may be also due to previous actions, you are put in a situation and environment where you depend or other depend on you. Therefore, you are forced to, whether you like it or not, na ichanto na ichanto na ichantaha, anichantaha anichantaha ena. Although whether you desire or not, you are paradakshinya samyutaha, due to the concern for others. Sukha dukkho bhajanti, you have to suffer the consequence of sukham or dukkham also. It can be pleasurable, it can be suffering also, one has to go through. Etat parecha purva karma. This is called the prarabdha karma that depends on others. So this is a third type of prarabdha karma that he discusses. So jnani also has to do certain things that he either doesn't want it or doesn't want it. So tadvidhi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya. So Krishna says, go to a teacher and ask appropriate questions. Then what does teacher has to do? Then that is his prarabdha, because he has to satisfy the requirements of other people's also, whether he likes it or not, he has to teach. That becomes a guru's prarabdha to teach, because he himself has gone through same process by approaching his teacher. So the jnani also has to prarabdha karma to suffer the consequence of the desires demanding things also. So body mind of the intellect of the jnani is maintained by Ishvara to satisfy other people's demands, because he needs that kind of body, that kind of jnanam, that kind of intellect for the people who can get benefit by that kind of teacher only. So people went to Ramana Maharshi where they don't want teaching, they are listening to only silence. So people can understand the silence. Only those people who could understand the silence could go to Ramana Maharshi. Whereas the other people who went to Swami Chinmayananda, or people who want to listen to something, he keeps talking all the time. So you need different types of teacher for different sadhakas. And Krishna Lord maintains a proper teacher, and you are led to proper teacher by your own prarabdha. And the prarabdha of the teacher is also to maintain the body, mind, intellect, so that the students who are coming in Sishyas, therefore they can be fulfilled. This becomes Ishvara's control also. So the body, mind and intellect of the jnani also is maintained by Ishvara until he decides the body, mind, intellect is no more useful or cannot handle anymore, then only it's dropped out. That becomes para-ichcha prarabdha karma. So that he has discussed the three types of karmas which are prarabdha that one has to go through, and a jnani also has to go through that prarabdha karma. Now we take 163. So now we go back to the original Brihadaranyaka mantra commentary. Now he has deviated in terms of prarabdha karma. Now he is trying to get back to the original sloka, that the whole commentary of this, which is the chapter, is based on that. Katham tarhi kimiccanniti Katham tarhi kimiccanniti evamicha nishidyate evamicha nishidyate necha nishedah kim tvacha necha nishedah kim tvicha badho vajjita bijavat Bhado vajjita bijavat. Together. Katham tarhi kimiccanniti evamicha nishidyate necha nishedah kim tvicha bhado vajjita bijavat. Now it says, let's go back to the original sloka. What we started here, we started is the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad mantra commentary on that. Say Atmanam ched vijaniyat ahamasmi iti purushaha kimichan kasya kamaya. We are now commenting on the second line. Kimichan kasya kamaya Sariram anusajvate. So one who has recognized, first statement is first recognize your own nature. So Atmanam ched vijaniyat. One should know oneself. And that is ahamasmi iti. I am. I am means I am pure existent consciousness. Asmi iti purusha. That Jiva has to recognize. That's the Upanishad statement. And kimichan kasya kamaya. Once you have recognized that, then what desire to who has it? Because once you say I am Brahman, Brahman cannot have a desire. Then question is kimichan kasya kamaya. For whose sake he will have a desire? So kimichan is the for whose sake kasya kamaya. So that comment is being now raised here. So katham tarhi kimiccannati. For what? Kimichan. What is that he going to desire? Because he is already full. If he is a jnani, why should he have any desire? So, but we are asking that question now. We are answering that. Katham tarhi kimiccannati evam ichcha nishidyate. So that ichcha katham nishidyate. How desire can be denied? Ichcha nishedata. So if the desire, who has the desire? Now you are telling that this prarabdha karma he cannot desire, but at the same time sloka says that who has the desire? So there seems to be some contradiction here. Ichcha nishedaha kintu ichcha badaha, because of the lack of potency of the desire. So here now we are giving an example based on the scriptures. It says bhajjita bijavat. This is an example of from the scripture. It says it is like a fried seeds. So fried seeds will not germinate new plants. So when I fry seeds and then if I plant it, nothing will happen. So the desires of a jnani is like the fried seeds called the bodha bharjita bijavat. Bija is the seeds of a roasted seeds. So therefore his vasanas have been roasted by the knowledge. So even though he has the desire, in fact the roasted seeds are tastier than the raw seeds. So but at the same time you cannot use it for planting anymore. So it does not germinate new vasanas. So even though we are enjoying the benefits of the roasted seeds, it does not contribute to the germination of new plants. In the same way, the vasanas of the Jivan Mukta, even though he is enjoying, does not leave the vasanas. Not only jnani, even ajnani also, once he started Ishwara Arpita Buddhi, this means once I surrender myself to the Lord, or Saranagati, whatever, once you surrender myself, then I am doing actions not for my sake anymore, for the Lord's sake, even though the desire is coming in my mind. So where one has to be careful here. Not that Lord has some desires. So if I have desire that I had to give Lord some good laddu or something, not that Lord wants laddu, because I have a desire that I had to give prasadam today for the laddu, then the desire, as though you think that propelled by the Lord himself in my mind, therefore when I do it, then it doesn't leave me vasanas for the laddu also. So it is only prasadam. But even though it is propelled by my own desire, but since it's Ishvara Arpita Buddhi is there, I consider that it's also Ishvara Arpitam only. It's only Lord himself wants me to make Laddu for him. Then in that case I am unaffected by it. So that's what is the statement here is. He says that is being explained by a roasted seeds. So Bodha Bharjita Bijavatu. So the desires of the Jnani is of that type. Who says that? Scripture says so. So therefore it is like a Bharjita Bijavatu. This is a famous statement of the scripture, and therefore even though the Jnanis are there, Jnani wants to teach, but that is propelled by the Ishvara only, because Jnani knows that the totality is coming from the Lord himself, because praguchevacha karmani kriyamanani sarvashaha. All actions are being propelled by the Prakriti only. So says Pasyan, Srunvan, and all ans, that means all actions are being done indriyan indriyarteshu vartante iti dharayan. Krishna says in the Gita that all are done by the sense organs, and sense organs are part of Prakriti. Mind is part of the Prakriti. Body is part of Prakriti. What is that you are only is pure existent. I am. This is all. This belongs to Sariram Bomb. Anything that can be under this is part of Prakriti only. So I am is not a Prakriti. He says that apareya mitastvanyam Prakriti. That is above Prakriti. That's why Krishna says in the Bhumirapo Nalo Vayu Kam Mano Buddhirevacha Ahankara Midiyam Me Bhinna Prakriti Rashtada. This eightfold Prakriti of mind that includes Ahankara. Ahankara is actually interpreted there due to Sankhya philosophy. But here the Ahankara means egocentric attitude that I want this, all are part of lower Prakriti only. And then apareyamitistvanyam prakritim viddhime param. The para prakriti, which is higher prakriti, is apparent. That is beyond. Para means beyond what? Beyond all other pramanas or other means of knowledge. So in the I am aprameyam, beyond any pramanas. Only this can be known through pramana, means of knowledge. And I am aprameyam because I am a subject which cannot be objectified, and Brahman is also aprameyam because he is infinite, cannot be known as an object. So in either way, it is beyond the higher pramana. That's what is being discussed, and that's called reference to the fried seeds. So he's going to discuss more about the fried seeds in the next sloka. Now sloka 164. Bharjita tu bijani, bharjita tu bijani, sanchakarya karinacha, sanchakarya karinacha, vidvadicha tadaistavya, vidyadishta tadaistavya, asatva bodhan na karyakrit, asatva bodhan na karyakrit. Together. Bharjita anitu bijani sanchakarya karini cha vidvadicha tadaistavya asatva bodhan akaryakrit. So bharjitani bijani, just as the roasted seeds to akarya karini do not sprout. So, cha santi, so they remain without sprouting. Tatha, in the same way, vidvadicha, the desire of a wise man, ishtavya asat bodhat. So because of the unreality of the world, because of the knowledge of the unreality of the world, nakarya kritu, so he does not depend upon for happiness on that. So he knows that the world itself is mithya. So he doesn't depend upon the world for his happiness. That's why Krishna says, Prajahati yadakaman sarvan parthavanogatan. Atmanyeva atmanato. He is reveling in himself by himself. So he doesn't depend upon something other than himself or in the world. World includes everything that comes under this. So anything that can be pointed out comes under the world, that is Prakriti. So he doesn't depend on that for his happiness, and he may perform actions in the world for as though it is for the Leela part. It's a Leela Vibhuti. So tata vidvaticha ishtan asattva bodhat. So asattva bodhat, knowing very well that unreality of the world, nakarya kritu does not depend upon the happiness, and therefore that is asattva bodha nakarya kritu. Therefore he does not depend upon the world for his happiness, because he behaves like a roasted seeds. His desires are like a roasted seeds. It becomes a bhushanam now. That's called Pannaka Bhushanam, and because the Lord Shiva is called Pannaka Bhushanam because Pannakas are nothing but vasanas only, but that which is like a bhajitani bijani, like a roasted seeds, therefore they do not sprout, or the snakes do not bite anymore because they are under control of the Lord himself. It becomes a bhushanam now, a decoration for the Lord. Same way, Jnani also, his desires become a bhushanam, because whatever the desires are, it's not for his self, for the sake of loka kalyanam only. So whatever he does it for the benefit of others only, and others may think he is getting benefit, or he is getting satisfaction, or his ego is getting satisfied. That is other people's problem. But from his point, he himself doesn't depend on that for his happiness. That's essentially says 164. Now we'll go to the roasted seeds example is further illustrated in the next sloka. We'll take 165. Dagda bija maro hepi bhakshanayopayujyate vidyadichapyalpa bhogam kartunna vyasanam bahu together. Dugdha bija maro hepi bhakshanamopayujyate vidvadichapyalabhya bhogam kartunna vyasanam bahu. So just have the roasted seeds, or so roasted seeds arohepi. So even though they does not sprout, bhakshana eva upajyate, they are good, they are useful for eating. So even though they are not useful for sprouting the new plants, they are good for eating. Vidvana ichchapi, same way the desires of a realized person, alpa bhogam, the desires of whatever small things that he gets is kuryat bahu yasanamna. It doesn't give the vasanas, germinate other vasanas in the like for an ajnani. Ajnani means when he fulfills a vasana, it gives you more vasanas only, like pouring the ghee into the fire to put out the fire. For a jnani, his desires are, he is not for himself because he is already full. So apurnam means overflowing happiness, is already full by himself. Therefore nothing can add some more happiness, but he enjoys whatever the vasanas are, that as they burn, as they roasted seeds. Roasted seeds cannot be used for sprouting new plants, but can be used for eating. Therefore one can enjoy the roasted seeds. Same way one can enjoy the benefits of the actions of the sages, because whatever they do is only for the loka kalyanam, so for the benefit of the totality. So all the actions are done even though they are desire prompted in terms of for the jnani, those actions are mostly meant for the benefit of. That includes maintaining his body also, because the body is also maintained for the benefit of others only. In that sense, one has to interpret. Okay, 166. Oh, okay. We get a signal that we're already 40 minutes, so we'll stop here and we'll continue tomorrow with the sloka 166. So he's going to talk more about the prarabdha karma, some more, and then discuss something else after that. So we'll stop here. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.